Hey guys, welcome back to Cosmic Road. It's been a couple weeks since I've been doing this. I've been very busy the last few weeks. Hope you guys are doing good. These have been weird times for everybody, but I hope this finds you guys well. I wanted to talk about my first CE5. For some reason, tilted the screen. Yeah, I did a CE5 initiative with my MUFON group. I'm the co-founder of a MUFON group. That's the Mutual UFO Network, if you've heard of that. It's like been in existence for 60 years or something. Basically, if you want to report a sighting of a UFO, they're who you call. They send out field investigators, all sorts of stuff. They're just a really good UFO resource, and it's probably the biggest civilian UFO organization ever. Anyway, so really interesting group, and I'm happy to be a co-founder of a local chapter of it, and we've been doing that for like 6 months or something, and we just did our first UFO Skywatch, and as part of that Skywatch, we had a CE5 initiative. I am the one that initiated that and got that going. Not that I had ever done that before, but I'm kind of more of the woo-woo person of everybody involved in the local MUFON chapter. And I believe a lot of this has to do with more metaphysical stuff, not just purely physical stuff. Hey, Wild Ascension, how's it going? And so yeah, have you ever done a CE5? Has anybody watching this done a CE5? That is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And if so, what were your experiences like? So anyway, we had the Sky Watch a few days ago, our first Sky Watch out on Lake Somerville and the Brazos Valley. Great location, beautiful lake, beautiful weather. However, it was very cloudy, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I actually wasn't expecting a lot of people to show up because of the cloudy weather. I thought, well, shoot, this is going to kill the deal. But as it happened, a lot of people showed up. We had like over 30 people show up, which is a pretty good crowd for that kind of thing. And we had a lot of people that were interested in doing CE5. And I want to say maybe five or six of them were actually experiencers. That is, people who were abductees or contactees, or who had. There were a couple people who saw UFOs a lot, like just frequently. They'd step out of their house, and there would be a UFO, and that happened to them frequently throughout their lives. To me, that means it's highly likely they are an experiencer of some sort. So who knows? Um, yeah, I'm reading the comments from Wild Ascension. I've been a big skeptic of Greer for a long time, LOL, but I'm going to try to open my heart back up to him once I watch the new Above Top Secret documentary. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of a Greer. I mean, I'm a big fan of the CE5 thing that he's popularized. Why should the government or NASA or whoever be the gatekeepers between us and the phenomenon? That's bullshit. So, we can just contact the beings directly. They're happy to deal with people on a one-on-one basis. They don't need the government to do that. In fact, I found that out just a few days ago. And I'm going to tell you about that. So just setting the scene, letting a few people get in here. But yeah, about Stephen Greer, who is the one that popularized and even coined the term CE5 and developed a protocol. He even put out an app for it. And, he's probably made a lot of money off of this. He takes people out on tours. He takes people on private CE5 things. And he actually has a lot of luck with it. And I think he has a genuine affinity for the phenomenon and is likely a contactee or abductee or even a hybrid. I think it's very likely that he is a hybrid. And but what I don't like about Stephen Greer, Dr. Greer, is he is a weird apologist for the negative aspects of the phenomenon. He says there's no such thing as alien abductions, for example. And if you have studied the phenomenon in any detail, you will have come across the phenomenon of abductions. And it's a real thing. It's widespread. Millions and millions of people have been abducted and are ongoing abductions. As negative or positive, it's a thing. And to deny the existence of that just really rubs me the wrong way. Is he lying? Has he actually convinced himself of this? If he is lying, why is he lying? Is he trying to cover this up because he is aligned with what is going on? So I don't know about that, but we can only ever be open. Yes, I did go to CE-5. I'm reading Wild Ascensions. I was a big follower of Greer before a skeptic. My skepticism happened for personal reasons a long time ago, but I'd love to believe again. I think that Greer is worth paying attention to because he does have so much luck with his CE-5. He really does have an affinity with the phenomenon and an ability to interact with it, but he sows dissension and discord within the community and he spreads lies. So I'm not a big fan of his, despite his developing CE-5, which I am very grateful for. So I'm very conflicted on my feelings for Greer because I do think that his popularizing CE-5 has been a very good thing for the community and the world. It's putting us in charge of our connection with the phenomenon, and that is a beautiful thing and just amazing. So yeah, so to get on with what happened to us the other day, RCE5. We had good turnout. Beautiful scene by the lake. Very cloudy. I was really because you couldn't see the stars at all. Couldn't see the moon. Couldn't see Jack. Like oh hell. We're not going to see anything unless the phenomenon wants to be seen. And I think in general that's the case. Where if the phenomenon doesn't want to be seen, it's not going to be seen. And indeed, on many CE5 initiatives, the way it works out is people, two people standing right next to each other will be looking at the sky when one person will see a UFO and the person next to them will not. So the phenomenon specifically targets who it wants to show itself to for whatever reasons. Now, I don't know what those reasons are. Before this last weekend, I would have thought that those people that saw those UFOs were vibrating at a higher level or something like that. However, I'm not sure if that's the case because of some of the stuff that happened. Now, the people that did experience what went on last Saturday, I believe, are high vibrating people. So that is true. But there were some other high vibrating people that did not see anything. So what's going on with that? I did not see anything. I started the CE-5. We meditated. We did the protocols. We did the visualization techniques. Afterwards, we played some crop circle tunes. And I didn't see anything except a cloudy sky until afterward when I started talking to the people who did see stuff. And they had profound experiences, especially this one guy who's a good friend, who's a friend of mine, who's an acquaintance, I think could become a good friend of mine, a really good guy. And he saw and experienced some amazing stuff. And this is where it gets trippy. This is where a lot of CE5 stuff and stuff involving the phenomenon gets weird and hard to talk about if you are approaching this from a nuts and bolts perspective. And if you think these are just beings from another planet and this is all nuts and bolts physical universe stuff, and then you encounter the weirder aspects of the phenomenon, it's going to be an adjustment and you're not going to know how to deal with it. And if I describe it to you, it could rub you the wrong way. And, I don't want to rub you the wrong way. This is a growing channel. but I've got to be honest with you and tell you what happened. And in my research and experience with the phenomenon in general, it is very, I hate to say the words woo woo, but there is a other dimensional spiritual aspect to what is going on, a consciousness aspect to what is going on. So anyway, and that is what happened to this gentleman. He had a profound spiritual experience where they were interacting with him spiritually during the meditation phase. Um, and afterward, when I encouraged everybody to open their eyes and look at the sky, he kept his eyes closed for a long time because he was undergoing this profound spiritual thing. And he was actually out of his body, and all these things were going on. When he finally did open his eyes, it was still going on. He was able to see the lights in the sky, and the crazy thing, he saw like a thing that would pulse here and go along a rod and pulse here and go back and pulse and go back. And he saw some ripply, wavy lights that he described as like a waffle pattern, but without, it wasn't square. It was more circular, I think. It was more kind of like an aurora borealis, but with waffle patterns. And and you might think, well, this was just him. But no, because he was talking about this. The first person he went to was my Reiki instructor. Yes, I'm taking Reiki. And in fact, she is the one that led us originally with the CE-5. She did an opening thing that kind of kicked the whole thing off. She did this 3 minute long making peaceful contact thing that I think is what sealed the deal and what allowed us to have such a successful interaction. So he was describing this to her, and she knew exactly what he had experienced because she either experienced it herself or she could feel what he was feeling. And at a certain point, she was able to sense the activity in the sky that he was feeling or seeing, and she actually snapped some pictures of it. And I'm hoping to see those today, and hopefully I can share those with you later. That should be very interesting. So she was able to see it or sense it and then take pictures of it, and it could be photographed, uh, which is fascinating because nobody else was seeing it, but it was allowing her to take photographs of it. And several people saw these photographs. And just really, really interesting. So this thing was a very metaphysical, spiritual experience. At the same time, there were things that were visible on camera that multiple people were seeing. Because after that, I was talking to another lady who saw the thing that was flashing, that was going like that. She saw that, and she didn't know what these other people were seeing. She had no interaction with them, but I was talking about this privately with her, and she was describing this flashing thing. I was like, "Oh crap, that's what this guy saw." And so I put them in touch, and they compared notes. And yeah, sure enough, they were saying the same thing. Although he got the full Monty, and she just got part of the puzzle. And then there was my Reiki instructor who got maybe a lot of it too, maybe more of it. I don't really know. She's amazing. So yeah, because this whole thing is nuts. Again, I did not see anything. I did not feel anything. But multiple people were saying the same thing or parts of the same thing and feeling it and having a spiritual or metaphysical consciousness interaction with this event, with whatever was engaging with us. I don't know what it was, but my Reiki instructor, when she started us off with this contact, she was like, we're circling around the energy, we're sending up this beam, the positive, goodly intentions to beings that have goodly intentions and whatever. And, if you want to interact peacefully, come back down. And it was right after that the gentleman who experienced a lot of this started having these experiences. So independently or seemingly like before we really got too far into the meditation and everything. So I believe it was her interacting with these beings and inviting these beings to join us that made the difference. Um, I look like Will Wheaton. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that occasionally. Yeah, it's either that or Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson. At least when I was younger. Now it's more like Will Wheaton. Yeah, yeah. I'm the same way about Greer. I believe him for personal reasons because I disagree with some of his visions, but his CE-5 initiative makes sense. Yeah, it really it does. It makes sense and it works. It doesn't work like you would think it would. I mean, at least for us, we had a group of 30 people, and out of that 30 people, I think about that I know of, five people, I think five or six people saw stuff. Let me have a sip of water. Yeah. Oh, and another person who is a contactee or an experiencer of some sort. She has had interactions with beings that she doesn't usually see. She went to Sedona and she actually got some pictures because she felt their presence. And I think she heard them. And she was able to get pictures of these they look like orbs or beings of light. They're just, prisms of light just kind of hanging in the air, casting this light. Really cool. And she heard those same voices and felt the presence of those beings there with us, which is fascinating. So I don't know if they're following her around or if they were the beings or presences that people were interacting with at this CE5 event. And for anybody just joining us, I'm talking about a CE5 event that my MUFON group did a few days ago on Saturday. We went out to the lake in Lake Somerville, and we did this. We did a sky watch, and it was a lot of fun. We had hot dogs and just hung around and talked and enjoyed each other, and until later in the evening, and we started to initiate contact through a streamlined version of Dr. Stephen Greer's protocols. We use the protocols outlined by the YouTube channel Engaging the Phenomenon, a really great channel that I definitely encourage everybody to check out. He talks a lot about CE5, and that's kind of his main thing, and he does a great job. I think his name is James, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, let's see what we got. Has anyone ever said you look like Will Wheaton, babe? uh, hey, I can't help it. Come on. Yeah, yeah, Wesley. Yeah, yeah. I love Star Trek. Next Generation. Actually, I think my favorite Star Trek is probably the original Star Trek, and then after that it's Deep Space Nine, and then it's Next Generation. I haven't gotten into the new stuff, the Discovery and all that. From what I've seen of it, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. So, but anyway, I don't want to get off on a tangent. It was an amazing experience. Even if I didn't personally see anything, I talked to several people that were seeing the same thing, and not only seeing it but experiencing it. They're on a consciousness sort of level. So I think that's just fascinating, and I would love to know more about that and who was interacting with us, and were they just saying hello? Was there more going on? Because this one gentleman really had some profound stuff that was happening to him, seemingly on a more spiritual level. So, we took pictures. I was hoping to get some orbs or other stuff on the pictures because that is sometimes something that happens. I took pictures of the sky. I didn't get anything. When my Reiki instructor took pictures of the sky, she did get something. So, what's that about? Was there actually something in the sky, or was there just a presence that was imprinting on her camera because it wanted her specifically to see this stuff? It's just fascinating. Oh, okay, and that was the other thing. So I was saying earlier that maybe only high vibrating people saw this stuff. Well, maybe, but the gentleman who saw and experienced most of this stuff, who got the full Monty, his wife is a very high vibrating person who is an experiencer going back to childhood, and she can see the dead and or feel the dead and talk to the dead. And so, definitely somebody that I would say is a high vibrating person, clued into the phenomenon. And, the greater phenomenon, maybe not specifically the UFO phenomenon, but I think she is to that as well, to a certain extent. So why didn't she see anything? And I've had experiences before. It's not like I am incapable of interacting or observing the phenomenon, although my experiences are usually more paranormal or spiritual. And I'm a ghost hunter and a spiritual seeker. So those are my interactions. I did the CE-5 hoping to have a UFO interaction or a sighting anyway. I don't want to get probed, thanks. But yeah, so anyway, a really interesting experience. I am still trying to make sense of it. Where the weather warms up, my husband and son and are going to start finishing fishing more and camping, and that's when I get to go off and do some meditating of my own. I think meditating in nature is a great way to get in touch with yourself and with whatever Gaia or the phenomenon, whatever it is. Um, yeah, the summer, man, I can't wait for the summer too. It's taking its time, but I live in Texas, and it's never too far from the summer here, unless you have a surprise snowstorm that kills all the power for a week, like it did last year. But anyway, that's my story about the CE-5. It was totally different than I was expecting. I was expecting, if there's any luck at all, that there'd be a saucer or something in the sky that we would all see. I, have read and listened to many accounts saying that no, actually, some people see some stuff and some people don't, even though they're standing right next to each other. So I thought, well, if that did happen, then we could explain it by saying people are vibrating at different levels, and maybe that's the answer. I don't know, but it seems like it's even more complicated than that. So I don't get it. Do you guys? Y'all have any clues? Wild ascension? Do you have any theories? Yeah, connected to Earth. That's right. If anybody has any theories about what is going on, why the phenomenon only reveals itself to certain people at certain times, what's going on with that? Even if they're two high vibrating people, one sees something and one doesn't. I just think that's fascinating and very mysterious. Okay, all right, those are my thoughts for the moment. I hope you guys are having a great day. Please hit subscribe. Please comment below. Let me know what you were thinking. Have you ever done a C5? If so, what were your experiences? I can't wait to try it again. I'm hoping our group is going to start doing that quarterly. Yeah, we meet every month, but I think we're going to do maybe Skywatch every 3 or 4 months. Hopefully. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for me for today. But I hope you guys are just having a great day and have a great week. And yeah, please hit subscribe. And if you do hit subscribe, please hit the bell next to it to be notified of future videos. Comment below, hit the like button, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, do you know anyone who specializes in alien implants? No, I really don't. Not personally. I mean, I've seen people on YouTube talking about it. Do you have an implant? Do you have an? Yeah, I mean, and if you've got an experience or if you have an implant, please share. Question: Can you video your CE-5? Um, I was not recording it. I wasn't really doing it to put it on YouTube. I was trying to have a personal connection with the phenomenon and to have my own personal experience. Because, like I say, I am a seeker of the spiritual and of the metaphysical. And I think that's where a lot of the answers to this stuff lie. So that's kind of what I was doing it for. I wasn't really doing it for the channel. Although in the future, I think I will try to do more of that. For the first time I was doing it, I didn't want any ulterior motives to come into play. It wasn't for profit or whatever, for attention. It was just for personal growth and understanding. Um, let's see. Yeah, reading comments. I think the phenomenon only reveals itself to certain people at certain times because only certain people are open and willing for the real truth. And that could be true. It could be you have two equally vibrating people, but one of them is more open than the other. Here's another question from Wild Ascension. Do you believe in alien hybrids? Yes, I actually do believe in alien hybrids. I've done a lot of research on abductions and hybridization, and it seems like there are probably various motives for hybrids and various beings that are abducting people for various reasons. And one of the main reasons is to create hybrids to infiltrate our society. The reason we are typically given when they give an answer about that is that they are going to permeate our society in case of a cataclysm or what they call the shift or the change. Whenever some bad thing happens in our near future, it's always the near future. It's never now. It's never 1,000 years from now. It's always the near future. And they've been saying this for years, so it's always right around the corner with these guys. I don't know what that means to them if they exist outside of the time stream, as a lot of people think, like Whitley Strieber, which from my research, seems to be true in some cases. Some of these things do exist outside of our 3D reality, and yeah. So um, yeah, I forget where I was going with that. Where was I going? Anyway, yeah, well, I was distracted by Whitley Strieber's, analogy that these beings are like fishermen, and we are the fish in the stream, and that's the time stream. We are this, we exist in the time stream and in 3D reality, and to us that is reality. But they come in from the outside and they pluck us up from the water and they do whatever they want to do to it and they put us back. But they exist outside of the time stream. Now, I think some of these beings that are interacting with us are actually from our 3D matter universe. They are simply beings from another world. Maybe some of them are from the future. I don't know. From an alternate Earth, who knows? But I think that there are actually scientific explanations that exist in 3D reality for a lot of what's happening. But I think possibly the greater part of it, possibly the vast majority of it, is actually metaphysical or dimensional, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, really weird, really weird. This whole thing, trying to wrap your head around, is very difficult, and that's why I am on a more spiritual or metaphysical path, because I think that's where the answers are. And to understand what is going on, you really have to look beyond our dimension. And so that's why I am teaching myself, I'm doing meditation. I'm learning Reiki. I'm trying to develop my consciousness and my abilities to tap into other planes of existence. And I've had some success. I'll tell you about more about that with you guys later if y'all want to know. I don't want to turn you guys off. I'm trying to grow this channel. But like I had a this is going to sound weird, but I had a Kundalini awakening a few weeks ago, and that was insane. That was whoa. That's a whole nother thing, and y'all may not even want to hear about it because it's too weird. And if so, I totally get that. Okay, so Wild Ascension is saying I have an implant, but I don't know how to discuss it with anyone. Yeah, and not sure if it's an implant. That's why I need a specialist. Yeah, shoot. I wish I knew somebody that did that, that I knew personally that did that. I've just seen people talking about it on YouTube, and there's a lot of people that do discuss their experiences on YouTube. So I think that if you think that you have an implant, I would just Go on to YouTube and type in, alien implant, and just cycle through all those videos until you find something helpful, and maybe a link to somebody that studies this, or somebody mentioning somebody that studies this, and maybe pursue that if that's something that you are interested in. Whitley Strieber talks a lot about his own implant, and his wife begged him not to remove it, and he tried to remove it, and then I think it moved on him. And at that point, he willingly abandoned trying to get rid of it. And now he believes that implant is actually helping him communicate with his wife, who is now deceased. And so, that's pretty heady. But I'm a big believer in Whitley. I like him a lot. I think he's one of our. He's a very intelligent, very well spoken, very thoughtful, and he has been thinking about this stuff for a long time and interacting with the phenomenon on a pretty high level. So, um, well, eventually I heard of the different dimensions. Can I share that on my tree? Sure, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I have any particular understanding of it. I am really trying. I am really trying to develop a framework for the nature of reality. I think that reality is not what I thought it was. Just a few years ago, before the Navy videos came out, the Navy videos, if I can say that right, the Navy videos before they came out, the A.T.s stuff before that came out in 2017, and I think I saw it in 2018. Before that happened, I didn't believe in UFOs. I didn't believe in spirituality. I was an atheist. It was studying ATIP and its origins in Skinwalker Ranch, where they studied ghosts, the Pentagon studying ghosts. That kind of made me start studying the paranormal stuff. But yeah, before then, I didn't believe in UFOs or anything like that. But I obsessively studied it because it affected my worldview. I thought we were probably alone in the galaxy, not in the universe. I figured there were aliens out there somewhere, but I kind of thought, well, on the scale of time of the galaxy, if there were aliens out there, it's very intelligent aliens. It's very likely they would have evolved millions or billions of years ahead of us, and that we would see them. They would be out there. They would be here. So, and we didn't see them. I did not see them. Anyway, some people were definitely seeing them, but I didn't see them. And I didn't take any evidence seriously of alien contact. Those are all crazy rednecks, right? Disinformation. Um, so yeah. So anyway, that when that hit my feed, when I saw those videos and started digging into it, I obsessively studied the phenomenon. Every rabbit hole I could find, I went down, and I found rabbits in a lot of those holes. And yeah, it's pretty weird. It's pretty trippy. And then it starts getting really funky when you get into all the paranormal, spiritual, other dimensional consciousness aspects of it, which there are a lot. And there's a guy in Australia. I forget his name. He's a high-level experiencer. He's got a movie out on Amazon. I check it out. I think it's called Other Dimensional or Extra Dimensional, something like that. And really, really good movie about his own experiences. And he's got a lot of videos that he's taken of what he's been able to video, and his experiences are very other dimensional, very consciousness oriented stuff. And he says that only the bottom 5 or 10% of what people are seeing, as far as the phenomenon goes, are nuts and bolts. He says there is a nuts and bolts part of this. There are beings from other planets in our 3D reality, but only the bottom 5 or 10%. The rest of it is other dimensional. So, so yeah, so pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I'm trying to build a framework of reality, or of the super reality, if you will, um, for my own self, so that I can understand and make sense of this universe or this crazy super reality that I live in and that we all live in. And anyway, so yeah, it's great that you're so open minded to all aspects of it. Really enjoy listening to you explore the UFO issue. Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to be open minded. At first it didn't want to go. I really resisted studying Skinwalker Ranch because I sensed the woo woo. I sensed, well, this is some pretty crazy stuff. I'm not even going to bother with that nonsense. But the more I studied it, the phenomenon in general, the more it all circled back to Skinwalker Ranch, at least as far as my avenues of research were going, because I was researching the government's involvement in E.T.s and Lou Elizondo and all that kind of stuff. And all of that began at Skinwalker Ranch. E.T.s, emerged out of OSAP. There's a couple of different versions of that story, but whatever. It came out of OSAP, which began at Skinwalker Ranch, where the government investigated UFOs, portals, ghosts, Bigfoot, you name it. It all happened at Skinwalker Ranch, and it is still going on, and it has probably been going on for hundreds of years. So, I don't know what's going on there. I love Skinwalker Ranch. It's so mysterious. It's so frustrating because you just want to know the answer. But the puzzle is so tantalizing and so fun. Uh, anyway, all right. Does anybody have any final thoughts or questions, either about CE-5 or any of this crazy nonsense? Give you all a minute. And meanwhile, like, subscribe, comment below, share on social media. Let me know if you want to know about more spiritual or other dimensional aspects of the phenomenon, or if you want to stick to nuts and bolts stuff, because I think both are valid. But I think in order to get to the truth behind the phenomenon, you're going to have to get a little woo woo. At least that's been my experience. I don't want to tell anybody what to believe. Mark, I totally agree. I come from a nuts and bolts interest in UFOs, but I find it's a growing subject. Yeah, my interest, like I say, a few years ago, I was an atheist and non-believer in all of this stuff, and so when I originally got into it, it was very much from a nuts and bolts point of view, and I resisted anything slightly weird, whatever, time travel, alternate realities, whatever, even if it could have like a sci-fi explanation, I resisted it. But now I'm all aboard. It's all weird. It's all woo-woo. Well, at least a lot of it is. A lot of it is. And or seems to be. Again, I don't want to tell you what to believe, but my experience is with the paranormal. I've had some paranormal experiences, and in my mind, they're all connected. They're all part and parcel of the overall, super reality that we live in, and you know, it doesn't make any sense to me. I've had it explained by experiencers, like that Australian guy and like some others, that have a pretty good view on the situation and have been told things by the beings themselves, that resonate with me and that make sense. But I made a previous video talking about, can we believe the beings? When the intelligence behind the phenomenon tells us stuff, is that stuff true? There are multiple examples of lies and mistruths, and maybe we're just not understanding what they're saying, or they're directionally true, but they're not technically true. For example, how did aliens create humans? Well, they've told several different versions of the story of how they created humans. So either one of those stories is right or they're all wrong. It's hard to see how they could all be right. So it seems like there's some mistruths in at least some of those accounts. And there's a bunch of different stuff like that. Like I was saying earlier, the beings say that the shift is coming, the change is coming, the apocalypse is coming, and they're here to prepare us and to save us from that doom. And it's coming just around the corner. And the hybrids are here to help with that. They're good guys. They're here to help with that. So don't worry about them making hybrids. They're here to help with us when the shit gets real and we need them to bail us out. And you know what? That could totally be the case. It totally could. They could be here to help. They haven't destroyed us, so they're not here to do that. Um, so I don't know. But again, they always say the end is coming, the shift is coming, it's just around the corner. It'll be a few years. It'll be a few years. And they've been saying that for like 30, 40, 50 years. Since the beginning of the recorded alien abduction phenomenon. So, of course, it's also important to remember that from my experience and my research, that a lot of these beings do exist outside of the stream of time. So time doesn't mean the same thing to them. So when they say it's just around the corner, maybe it is to them. But what does that mean? Does that mean 1,000 years? Does that mean 1,000,000 years? I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. That's a good point. They could be leading us to their own agenda. Give the show a thumbs up. I like that. That's a good thought. I like that. Subscribe. Okay, well, I've been at this for about 40 minutes. My throat's getting a little dry, but thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. Always love talking about this stuff, and I will be with y'all again very soon. So thank you, Wild Ascension, and Mark, and everybody else that joined us today. I really appreciate it, and I wish y'all a good day.